okay, your time is about to begin. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's about to start. And I was just ready to get it over with, so I clicked next. Question 1, I had no idea. No, this is the wrong test. It was like, if you take a break, your time will not stop. And I was like, oh no, I can't. So I was like, I'm literally gonna run out of time. What are you doing, Jamie? You can't take 20 minutes on each question. What are you doing? I didn't realize how long I was taking on each question until I clicked it just to see how much time I had. And I was like, oh. What's up, YouTube? It's me, Jamie K, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about my NCLEX day. So I took my NCLEX on March 11th, which was this past Friday. My appointment time was at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we did have to travel 2 hours there. So Thursday night, we packed up a little bag and we drove 2 hours away to take my test. We stayed in a hotel that night. It took me the whole 2 hours there to review the 100 questions for my U-Road assessment. As soon as we landed, I was on question 100, and I had just finished as soon as we got there. So we unloaded, got to the hotel room, we got something to eat. I took a shower, and then I got in the bed. I didn't pick up any books. Surprisingly, I didn't pick up anything. I didn't look at any weak spots. I didn't pick up my flashcards. I didn't look over any lab values. I just got in the bed. I went to sleep. Surprisingly, I slept okay. I slept pretty well, actually. I went to sleep around 12 and I woke up at 6:30. I didn't toss and turn. I didn't have any bad dreams. I didn't wake up in the middle of the night. I slept pretty well. I woke up at 6:30 because we were in a different state and I really didn't know if we would run into traffic or where the nearest breakfast place was. So we just got up early just in case. So we went to McDonald's. I just got me a breakfast burrito and some water. I was not hungry at all, but I knew that I was probably going to take a long time. I didn't know how long I was going to take to test, and I didn't want to be in there hungry. So I ate a breakfast burrito and drank a couple sips of water. We got there around 7:30. I went in. I didn't bring my phone, and it was on the second floor. It was like 3 people in there, and they were all just sitting outside waiting on someone to open the door. And like, that's when it hit me. Like, I don't think it really hit me until that moment where I was like, oh my gosh, the time is now. It's really happening. Like, today is the NCLEX day. Like, I've been waiting for this test day. I've been anticipating this day forever. So I sat down, I took my seat, and the lady came out and she was like, okay, everybody, hello. Before you come in, read everything on the door and then come inside and take a seat. So the door was just talking about COVID and keeping your distance and wearing the mask and no electronic devices, and it also was like, take a deep breath, you can do it, which I did. So we went in, everyone sat down, everyone went up one by one to get their palm scanned and then to tell her your name and to give her your ID, and then we had to take a picture as well. So cheese. We took the picture, and then everyone had to put their things in a locker. You couldn't take anything in there. We had to pat ourselves down, pat our ankles down and everything, and then we had to raise up our sleeves so we wouldn't have any answers on our arms. And then we walked into the room. It was like computers, but they were like against the wall, and then they had like, I was like blocking to my own block, which I liked because I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to hear anybody, I don't want to see anybody getting up. So I liked that. And they had noise canceling headphones, which I loved. I knew that was a thing, but I had never experienced noise canceling headphones. So when I put them on, everything just went silent. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is what I need. Only bad thing about the noise canceling headphones was that I can hear my heart beating, and my heart was beating at least 120 beats per minute. Like, my heart was running around in my body. So that's one thing I didn't like about the headphones, but I was like, it's either listening to your heartbeat or it's listening to everybody click, and it's listening to people slide their chairs back and get up and leave, and people taking deep breaths. Like, definitely went with the heartbeat. Anyway, it took forever to get it started with all the questions and signing the disclosures and accepting everything, and it finally was like, okay, your time is about to begin. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's about to start. And I was just ready to get it over with, so I clicked next, and question 1 came up. Question 1, I had no idea what, and I was like, no, this is the wrong test. I had no idea what it was talking about. And I knew that people have told me that you'll get things that you don't know. You'll get things that you've never seen before. You'll get drugs you've never seen before. And I was like, okay, I was prepared for that. But it was my first question. So I was like, this is how the test is gonna go. This is how this test is about to be. This is how this test is about to be. So it kind of threw me off a little bit. But I was like, okay, you already knew this. You knew you weren't gonna know certain things. So I got to question 1. Before I knew it, I was on like 15. I got to like 30. But this is the thing. When I got to question 45, I had like an hour and maybe like 40 minutes left. You can click the timer so that you can't see the time. I did that, which was helpful at first, but I didn't realize how long I was taking on each question until I clicked it just to see how much time I had. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna run out of time. I'm gonna run out of time, because I didn't know what number I was gonna go to. Like, what if I went to 145? What if I went to 108? What if I went to 120? What if I went to 100? Like, I wasn't expecting it to stop at 75. So I was like, I'm literally gonna run out of time. What are you doing, Jamie? You can't take 20 minutes on each question. What are you doing? So I tried to pick up the pace, but I was like, you can't pick up the pace because you don't wanna rush it. So I was like, my mind was going around in circles at this point. And I was like, okay, let's just try to pick up the pace. So I think my problem was that I was overthinking. I do overthink a lot. I overthink and I also second guess myself. So I think those are the top 2 things that was making me take so long on each question. So I got to like 70, and also around the 45 area, it asked me was I ready for a break, and I clicked no, because if you take a break, the time keeps running. I don't know if this is everywhere, but where I took mine, it was like, if you take a break, your time will not stop. And I was like, oh no, I can't. So I stayed. So I got to 75, and then I clicked next. And at 75, I probably had like an hour left. And so, yes, it's taking me 4 hours to get through 75 questions. That's what you heard. But anyway, I got to 75, and the screen went blank. And it was like, are you ready to take a break? I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, I wanted to take a break. I was a little tired at that point, sitting there for 4 hours. I was a little tired, but I just couldn't afford a break at the moment because the time was going to keep ticking. So I was like, I don't have to use the restroom. I don't need any water. I'm fine. I can toughen it out. So at 75, it was like, would you like to take a break? Yes or no? I said no. So then it was loading, the little loading thing. And then the screen went black again. It was like, you have completed the test, or whatever. It was like, please, I forgot what it said. It was like, you are, basically the screen went black and it cut off at 75. So I thought it was gonna keep going past 75 because it asked me was I ready for a break. But after that, it just told me that the test was over. Like, it cut off at 75. So after that, it was like, do you want to do survey questions? Which I also heard people were going to tell me that they were going to offer if you wanted to do the survey questions. I always told myself I was not going to do it, but I was like, let me help out the people that are going to take it in the future. So I did like 15 of the survey questions. I thought it was only 15, but I got to 16 and it kept going. And I was like, oh no. So I stopped at 15. I was like, there should be enough like input. Like, there should be enough input. So I did like a total of 90 questions. After that, I turned it in and I got up. You had to raise your hand. It's like, I'm done. And then she comes over and she escorts you out the room. Scan your palm again, and then you get your things and you can go. So my mom and grandma were outside waiting on me, and I got in the car and I was just like, the big sigh of relief. I was just like, even though I wasn't sure how I did at that moment was still, I just felt like someone lifted 800 pounds off of the left shoulder and like 9,000 pounds off of the right shoulder, and then like 50 million pounds off my back, and just lifted it off of me. And I could actually breathe, I could actually think, I could actually like, I felt so relieved at that moment. But then again, my head was hurting, my stomach was hurting. I did feel like exhausted afterwards because I did sit there for almost 5 hours with no break. So I was exhausted, but I was also relieved. Those are my 2 emotions after the test. I felt exhausted and I felt relieved. So As far as how I felt about the test, I did feel like the test was not as hard as I expected it to be. I just thought it was going to be the hardest test I've ever taken in my life, and I was not going to know anything on it. I did feel that way about some of the questions, but majority of the questions was like, oh, I know that, and oh, I remember learning about that, and oh yeah, I know what that is. But what makes it difficult is the answer choices. It's like, it always comes down to two, which if you're in nursing school or you're about to take the test, you know that already. It's always going to come down to two answers that are both right, and you have to choose which one is most right. And I feel like that is the only thing that made it difficult. The question itself wasn't difficult. It was straightforward, very vague. It just came out and the question. It didn't sugarcoat anything. It's like, this patient has this. What do you do for this? That's it. No detailed background history, any of that. I maybe had 2 or 3 detailed ones, but for the most part, everything was very vague. Everything was very straightforward, and I like that about the questions. That's what made it not so intimidating. That's what made me feel like I can do this. Like, oh, that's not that bad. So it always came down to the answer choices. I would automatically eliminate 2, and then I'd be left with 2, and it's just like, you last 2 always get to me. And so you just have to battle it out between the last 2 to see which one is priority or which one is the better answer, basically. And that's what makes it hard for me. That's what made it hard for me. And also my overthinking and my second guessing myself didn't help with that process. But I passed in 75 questions, you guys. I found out Sunday that I passed in 75 questions, so I'm extremely happy. I'm so excited that I get to share this news with you guys. I cannot believe that I can sit here and say I am a nurse, and it feels great. I'm so thankful that it's over. Like, I feel great. I feel relieved. So afterwards, we went to get something to eat, and then we drove back home. And I was too scared to do the Pearson VUE trick. I felt confident. I felt like I knew most of the information, but it was just my second guessing that made me second guess myself about the whole test. Like, did you do good? Do you think you did good? Leaving the testing room, a side of me was like, I feel like I did good. I feel like I passed. And then another question was like, you definitely missed that question. You definitely missed that question too. Did you do good? Did you really do good? And it was just like half and half. I didn't know how to feel. I just really don't know. Like, you don't know. That's all I can say is you don't know. And that's what makes it so frustrating, is because you have no idea. But confidence is key. When people used to tell me before I took the test, they're like, oh, be confident, be positive, you got it. And I'm just like, oh, that's not gonna help me answer the questions. But now after taking the test, I see what they mean. Confidence and being positive is very important. It's very important, because if you go in there with a defeated attitude, you will be defeated. You will feel defeated. But if you go in there with a confident, positive attitude, you'll feel confident. You'll feel positive. So I do recommend following those tips, even though you don't want to hear that because it's like cliche. But I feel like that was very helpful, especially encouraging words and motivation that I got from my family before going in. That was very helpful as well. I did just want to say thank you to all of my friends and family. Everyone was so motivational and so encouraging throughout this stressful time in my life. They sent me encouraging messages, and they prayed for me, and they just gave me positive messages every day. And that was very, very sweet, very helpful. And I just can't thank them enough. On my way out of town to take the test, my auntie gave me this really big box of sunshine. So this is the box of sunshine, you guys. On this side, it says RN, RN, RN. And then box of sunshine. And then it also has this, like a motivation card. My family gave me encouragement and wrote motivational quotes on this motivation card. Yellow is my favorite color, if you can't tell. Everything in the box of sunshine is yellow. I got flowers, Raisinets, popcorn, Gatorade, candy. And just seeing this, and on top of the motivational quotes that it came with, just made my whole entire day. It just made me feel like I can do it. And not only I can do it, but I have people behind me that are rooting for me and that are praying for me. And I just felt like I wasn't in it alone. I never was in it alone because of my family, my friends, and God. I just felt very supported, and that made me feel very good going into the test. If you know somebody in nursing school, somebody that's about to take the NCLEX, it's very stressful. It's a stressful test. It was the biggest test of my life. So something like this really helped me to push forward and gave me the motivation and encouragement and the inspiration that I needed to keep pushing. Everyone's so supportive, and I just can't say thank you enough. So that's all for my test day. I'm also going to make a video talking about what I used to study and preparing for the test day, the resources that I used, how I prepared, and do I feel like it was beneficial to me, and just more questions about resources for the test. And if you guys have any questions about anything, I really do want to help as best as I can. I am always asking people questions, and I want to be able to help you guys if you guys have questions. So don't be afraid to let me know if you have questions. I will answer all of your questions. And don't be afraid to ask more than one. I will answer all 30 of your questions, because I know I had 45 questions anytime I was asking someone about the NCLEX. So don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm so glad that I get to share this with you guys. I was so excited to make this video. This is one of the first things that I was thinking about doing after the test. I was like, yay, I can finally start my YouTube. I can finally tell people how I did it, what I did, how it was for me, and share my experience. So I'm very excited to make this video and my next video. Please tune in for the next video, and thank you for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this NCLEX vlog. I could not believe I'm saying that. I'm officially done. I'm officially a nurse. Thank you guys for watching. Toodaloo.